Morningstar.ca, I'm Anam Siddiqui, and this is your May 2016 Fund Performance Report. This month we'll be looking at the global equity markets, which actually had its strongest return of the year thus far. The MSCI World Index returned 5.1%, whereas the All-Country World Index, which includes emerging markets, returned 4.7%. Now these returns are in Canadian dollars, and currency definitely had an impact on returns as the loonie declined against most major currencies. Most notably, the loonie declined versus the US dollar by 4.2%. Of the regions that make up the MSCI World Index, the US was a top performer. However, the European and Asian equity markets also had a positive impact on returns. From a sector perspective, the information technology sector was one of the top performers. This sector is actually less sensitive to interest rate changes, and over the month, investors had increased their expectations of a potential hike in interest rates. Morningstar's global equity category had underperformed the MSCI World Index by approximately 1% in May. This wasn't entirely surprising, as the funds that make up the category on average have an underweight to the US and were actually underweight some of the more top-performing sectors. The silver-rated CI Black Creek Global Leaders Fund underperformed both the benchmark and category over the month of May. The underperformance was due to a combination of regional and sector exposures as well as stock selection decisions. Black Creek Global Leaders is one of those funds that fall into that bucket where they were underweight the US. They actually have a significant underweight to the US, and this put a damper on their monthly returns. Furthermore, they are overweight the weaker performing industrial sector and had a relatively higher cash position, as the markets did well. However, on a year-to-date basis, the Black Creek Global Leaders Fund has outperformed both the benchmark and its category. Its overweight to the industrials as well as stock selection decisions have contributed to this outperformance. Over the month of May, the gold-rated More Global Equity Fund outperformed both the benchmark and its peer group. The fund outperformed despite the fact that it was actually underweight the US and underweight the top-performing information technology sector. All of the outperformance was due to positive stock selection, primarily within the financials and healthcare sectors. The fund has a similar story over the year-to-date period. It has outperformed both the benchmark and category for this time, primarily due to stock selection decisions within the financial sector. Financial names such as Aon, Market Limited, as well as Brookfield Asset Management, BlackRock, and S&P Global have all contributed to the positive returns over the year-to-date. Lastly, we'll look at the CI Cambridge Global Equity Fund, which marginally underperformed the benchmark but actually outperformed its peers. The fund benefited from positive stock selection. However, it had a relatively high cash position of close to 10%, which was a damper on returns. Furthermore, from a regional perspective, the Global Equity Fund has an overweight allocation to Canadian equities. Canadian equities lagged its foreign counterparts over the month of May. Therefore, this overweight was also a damper on returns. Looking ahead in June, the Federal Reserve will announce whether or not they'll increase interest rates, and will also have a final word on Brexit, as the United Kingdom will vote to decide whether or not they'll leave the European Union. Both events could have a potential impact on financial markets.